Earth's faster-than-light warships decloaked on the galactic perimeter, particle cannons charged to unleash kiloton bombardments, a stunning show of force from a species the Vorta Empire deemed primitive just 50 years prior. Humans from that little blue marble. Impossible! Zephyr gasped, eyes wide as the sleek human vessels filled their viewscreen. Elder Vorta diplomat Orion scowled, flustered by the sudden appearance of an Earthling battle fleet that, according to official intel reports, shouldn't exist at all. The primates must have finally reverse-engineered that crashed freighter from Triangulum. Their opulent diplomatic cruiser now felt like a flimsy tin can next to humanity's imposing warships, each bristling with advanced weaponry and shimmering with the telltale distortions of cloaking devices, technology even the mighty Vorta Empire had yet to perfect. Just days ago, as they charted a course for the Sol system, Orion had boasted to his younger counterpart of a quick and easy mission. "We'll bring the Earthers to heel like any other upstart race. Their quantum computing tricks are a curiosity, nothing more. Without Vorta guidance, left unchecked, they'll destroy themselves with AI and grey goo. We're doing them a favor, really, by absorbing their worlds into the Empire. Resistance is futile." His smug grin had said it all. "We're the superior species. They're primitive. What could they possibly do?" Now seeing the military might of the humans firsthand, even the veteran Vorta emissary felt an unfamiliar chill crawl up his spine. If Earth could hide this fleet, what other secrets did they hold? What other shocks awaited the Empire? One thing was certain, the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted forever. The Vorta had gravely underestimated humanity, and they would pay for their hubris. As their diplomatic cruiser entered Earth's orbit, the Vorta delegation was hailed by an unknown human vessel. A videocom request connected, projecting a human male in a crisp uniform onto the view screen. "Greetings, Ambassador Orion. I'm Captain James Morgan of the Terran spaceship Prometheus. We're here to welcome you to the Sol system. Before you head planetside for negotiations, I'd like to invite you and your team aboard for a quick tour if you're willing." Orion blinked in surprise, not expecting such an offer. He glanced at Zephyr, who shrugged, equally perplexed. The Prometheus looked like no human ship they had seen before, sleek and angular with no visible engine ports. Curiosity overrode caution. "Very well, Captain Morgan. We accept your invitation," Orion replied stiffly. After docking, Orion and Zephyr were greeted by the captain and a small group of officers in the airlock. As introductions were made, Orion studied the humans, trying to glean clues to explain their sudden technological leap. But their faces were inscrutable, smiling politely as they led the way into the heart of the ship. Walking the corridors, Orion couldn't help but marvel at the advanced tech on display. Holographic interfaces, quantum computers, even artificial gravity, all integrated seamlessly and elegantly. This was light years beyond the clunky retro engineering he had expected from the humans' salvaged Triangulum craft. "As you can see, Prometheus is state-of-the-art," Captain Morgan said proudly, gesturing to the gleaming bulkheads. "Just one of the many advanced vessels Earth has constructed in secret to safeguard our species' autonomy among the stars." "Remarkable," Zephyr breathed, examining a display of the ship's power systems. "Compact fusion reactors with unheard-of efficiency. And your propulsion. Unless I'm mistaken, you're not using conventional FTL drives." The captain smiled enigmatically, very observant. "No, we've moved beyond warp technology. Prometheus and her sister ships use a gravitic drive that manipulates the very fabric of space-time, near instantaneous travel between star systems without relying on the hyperlanes and jump gates of the Galactic Empire." Orion and Zephyr shared a stunned look, the implications hitting like a gut punch. Faster, stealthier FTL, hidden fleets, energy shielding. If all of Earth's ships were so equipped, it would upturn the balance of power in the galaxy overnight. The Vorta had been fools, Orion realized, to underestimate the depths of human ingenuity and determination. Their mission could no longer be the simple chastisement of an upstart race. No, the arrival of humanity as a true interstellar power would send shockwaves through the stagnant Vorta Empire, and the repercussions were only beginning. As the tour continued into the bowels of the Prometheus, Orion knew one thing for certain: the galaxy would never be the same. The tour continued deeper into the bowels of the Prometheus. Captain Morgan led the Vorta diplomats through gleaming corridors, past busy crew at their stations, to the very heart of the ship, the bridge. As the doors slid open with a pneumatic hiss, Orion and Zephyr stepped onto the command deck, eyes widening at the impressive array of holographic displays and high-tech control panels. In the center of the bridge, a shimmering blue avatar coalesced, the ship's AI, Athena. "Greetings, Ambassador Orion and Emissary Zephyr," the artificial intelligence said in a mellifluous voice. "Welcome aboard the Prometheus. I am Athena, the vessel's custodian and guide." "Remarkable," Zephyr breathed, stepping closer to examine Athena's projection. "An AI with such fluency and presence, your technological prowess is astounding." Athena inclined her head. "You are most kind, but I am merely one facet of humanity's advancements. Our greatest achievement, perhaps, is the development of our unique, faster-than-light propulsion." At this, Orion leaned forward, brow furrowed. "Yes, about that. You say you've moved beyond conventional warp drives? How is that possible?" The AI smiled enigmatically. "Through the manipulation of gravity itself, by generating immense gravitational fields, we can compress space ahead and expand it behind, effectively riding the distortions at incredible speeds. Near instantaneous travel between stars, without the limitations of hyperlanes or jump gates." Orion felt a chill run down his spine. If the humans had truly mastered such technology— "And your fleet," he pressed, "just how extensive is it? How many of these advanced ships have you built?" "Earth's fleet is substantial," Athena replied carefully. "Suffice to say, we have not been idle these past decades. Even as we maintained the facade of a primitive species, our shipyards and research facilities have been hard at work, hidden throughout the solar system and beyond. The Prometheus is but one of many." Zephyr gaped at the revelation. "Incredible, but why the secrecy? Why hide your true capabilities?" Captain Morgan stepped forward, hands clasped behind his back. "Because we had to," he said simply. "The Vorta Empire is known for its expansionist tendencies, its desire to subjugate and control. We couldn't risk our autonomy, our very survival, by showing our hand too soon." Orion bristled at the accusation, but he couldn't deny the truth of it. How many species had the Empire absorbed under the guise of guidance and protection? "But now," Morgan continued, "we are ready to take our place among the stars as equals. Earth seeks only peaceful coexistence, but we will fiercely defend our sovereignty if need be." Orion nodded slowly, mind racing. This changed everything. The balance of power had shifted seismically, and the Vorta would need to adapt quickly to avoid obsolescence, or worse. "Captain Morgan," he said carefully, "I believe a frank discussion is in order, between your leaders and mine, to re-evaluate our relationship in light of these revelations." "Of course, Ambassador," Morgan replied with a slight smile. "We'd be happy to arrange a meeting, in the spirit of openness and cooperation." As the tour wound to a close, and the Vorta prepared to disembark, Orion's thoughts churned with a mix of admiration and apprehension. Humanity had played the long game, and played it well. The Vorta had gravely underestimated them, dismissing them as primitive upstarts. But no longer. As he watched the Prometheus disappear into the void, Orion knew one thing for certain: the future of the galaxy would be written by Earth and Vorta alike, or not at all. Back on their diplomatic cruiser, Orion paced the command deck, his mind reeling from the revelations aboard the Prometheus. Zephyr sat hunched over a console, reviewing the sensor logs from their encounter. "This changes everything," Orion muttered, his voice tight with tension. "The humans' technology, their hidden fleet. The Empire has no idea what it's truly up against." Zephyr nodded grimly. "We must report this to the High Council immediately. They need to know the extent of Earth's capabilities." Orion activated the long-range communicator, his fingers flying over the holographic interface. Moments later, the flickering visage of High Counselor Vortex appeared, his aged features etched with concern. Ambassador Orion report. What have you learned of the humans? Orion took a deep breath. High Counselor, the situation is far more complex than we anticipated. The Earthers possess advanced technology, including a form of FTL travel beyond anything we've seen. They have a secret fleet, hidden shipyards. They've been preparing for this moment for decades. Vortex's eyes widened, his voice grave. This is deeply troubling news. We cannot allow a potential rival to rise unchecked. You must continue your mission. Gather more intelligence on their capabilities and intentions. We must know the full extent of their threat. Understood, High Counselor, Orion replied, bowing his head. We will not fail in our duty to the Empire. As the transmission ended, Zephyr turned to Orion, his expression thoughtful. Perhaps there is another way. The Empire's past dealings with less advanced races have not always been equitable. Maybe a more cooperative approach with the humans could yield better results in the long term. Orion sighed, rubbing his temples. I understand your concerns, Zephyr, but the Empire's policies have stood for millennia. We cannot appear weak in the face of a potential challenger. Our strength, our unity, must be preserved at all costs. Their conversation was interrupted by a chime from the communications panel. Zephyr tapped the interface, his eyebrows rising in surprise. It's the Prometheus. Captain Morgan is inviting us to a formal dinner, along with other high-ranking human officials. Orion stroked his chin thoughtfully. Interesting. This could be an opportunity to gather more intel, to gauge their true intentions behind the diplomatic facade. Agreed, Zephyr said, already rising to prepare. We should accept. Every scrap of information we can glean could be vital. As they readied themselves for the dinner, donning their finest robes and reviewing human customs, Orion couldn't shake the gnawing unease in his gut. The Empire had clearly underestimated humanity, dismissed them as primitive upstarts. But now the fate of both civilizations hung in the balance, dependent on the outcome of these negotiations. Zephyr, for his part, clung to a glimmer of hope. Perhaps, just perhaps, the humans could teach the Empire something valuable about innovation, about adaptability in the face of change. If a peaceful accord could be reached, both sides might emerge stronger for it. But as they stepped into the shuttle to return to the Prometheus, Orion knew one thing for certain. The coming days would test the mettle of Vorta and human alike, and the repercussions would echo across the galaxy for generations to come. The airlock hissed open, and Orion and Zephyr stepped into the Prometheus Grand Dining Hall, a cavernous space, with a transparent aluminum ceiling offering a breathtaking view of the stars. The room buzzed with conversation as the Vorta diplomats were introduced to key members of Earth's leadership. Ambassador Orion, Emissary Zephyr, meet Admiral Nathaniel Sinclair, commander of our fleet, and Dr. Evelyn Summers, the brilliant mind behind our FTL technology, Captain Morgan said, gesturing to a broad-shouldered man with salt-and-pepper hair and a petite woman with bright, intelligent eyes. As they took their seats at the sleek, minimalist table, Admiral Sinclair leaned forward, his voice low and conspiratorial. You know, when we first started out, we had no idea what we were doing. We cobbled together ships from salvaged parts, praying they wouldn't shake apart during FTL jumps. Dr. Summers chuckled. I remember those days. We nearly blew up the lab a dozen times trying to stabilize the gravitic drive, but we never gave up. We knew that to survive out here, to protect our world, we had to be innovative, daring. Orion listened intently, fascinated by the tales of human perseverance. Your people have accomplished so much in such a short time. It's truly impressive. Admiral Sinclair nodded, pride evident in his voice. We had to be smart about it, keep our progress hidden even as we expanded our reach. It wasn't easy, but we knew the risks of drawing too much attention too soon. As the conversation turned to the intricacies of the FTL drive, Dr. Summers's eyes lit up. The key was harnessing exotic matter to manipulate the very fabric of space-time. By generating immense gravitational fields, we can compress space ahead and expand it behind, essentially riding the distortions at incredible speeds. Zephyr, engrossed in the technical details, leaned closer. Fascinating. And you've managed to miniaturize the technology to fit on your ships? Dr. Summers grinned. It wasn't easy, but yes. The Prometheus and her sisters are the culmination of decades of research and refinement. As the dinner progressed, Orion found himself increasingly impressed by the humans' achievements. But one question still nagged at him. "What now?" he asked, setting down his fork. "What are your plans for the future, now that your capabilities are known?" Captain Morgan exchanged a look with his colleagues before speaking. "We seek to establish diplomatic relations with the galactic community, including the Vorta Empire, but it must be on equal terms. We will not be subjugated or controlled." Admiral Sinclair nodded, his expression serious. "We're willing to share our knowledge and technology, but only with those who respect our autonomy and right to self-determination. We will not be exploited or dominated." Zephyr, sensing an opportunity, spoke up. "Perhaps a more collaborative approach to interstellar relations could benefit both our peoples. The Empire has much to learn from your ingenuity and adaptability." As the dinner wound down and the humans bid their guests farewell, Orion and Zephyr were left with much to ponder. The revelation of Earth's true capabilities had shaken the very foundations of their understanding of the galaxy. Walking back to their shuttle, Orion turned to his colleague, his voice low. "The Empire must change, Zephyr. The old ways of dominance and subjugation will no longer suffice, not in the face of a rising power like Earth." Zephyr nodded, his expression thoughtful. "A new era of galactic diplomacy dawns, my friend, and humanity will play a pivotal role in shaping its course." As they boarded the shuttle, the weight of their mission settled heavily on their shoulders. The future of the Vorta Empire, indeed the very balance of power in the galaxy, hung in the balance, and the choices they made in the coming days would echo across the stars for generations to come. The shuttle lifted off from the Prometheus's hangar bay, the sleek human ship growing smaller in the view screen as they returned to their diplomatic cruiser. The revelations of the past hours weighed heavy on their minds. Earth's technological prowess, their hidden fleets and advanced FTL drive, all pointed to a civilization that had been greatly underestimated by the Vorta Empire. As they settled into their quarters, a chime from the comm panel interrupted their thoughts. Captain Morgan's face appeared on the view screen. "Ambassador Orion, Emissary Zephyr, I hope you found the tour enlightening. We have one more thing to show you if you're interested." Orion leaned forward, curiosity piqued. "And what might that be, Captain?" "A demonstration of our FTL technology in action. We'd like to invite you to observe a test jump to showcase its capabilities and precision." Zephyr glanced at Orion, eyebrows raised. A chance to see the humans' revolutionary drive firsthand? They couldn't pass it up. "We accept, Captain. When and where?" "We'll send a shuttle to pick you up in an hour. The demonstration will take place at a secure location within the solar system. Dr. Summers will be there to answer any technical questions you might have." An hour later, Orion and Zephyr found themselves on a small observation deck, floating in the void of space. Before them, a small fleet of human ships hung in formation, their angular silhouettes stark against the stars. Captain Morgan stood beside them, hands clasped behind his back. "What you're about to witness is the culmination of decades of research and innovation. Our FTL drive doesn't just move us faster than light, it fundamentally alters the fabric of space-time itself." Dr. Summers, her eyes alight with excitement, chimed in. "By generating immense gravitational fields, we can compress space ahead and expand it behind, essentially riding the distortions at incredible speeds, and with pinpoint accuracy, as you'll see." A countdown began, the fleet powering up their drives. Orion gripped the railing, his knuckles white with anticipation. Zephyr leaned forward, eyes wide. 3, 2, 1, jump. In a flash of light, the ships vanished, leaving only a faint ripple in their wake. Orion blinked, stunned by the suddenness of their disappearance. Where did they— There, Dr. Summers pointed to a distant corner of the star field, 5.2 light-years away at the edge of the Kuiper Belt, and— now. Another flicker, and the fleet reappeared, instantly traversing the vast distance with a level of precision that left Orion and Zephyr speechless. The entire jump had taken mere seconds, with no discernible lag or disorientation for the ships. Incredible, Zephyr breathed. The accuracy, the efficiency, it's beyond anything the Empire has achieved. Dr. Summers nodded proudly. We've built in numerous safeguards and fail-safes to ensure the safety and reliability of the system. And it's not just for military use. We've been exploring uncharted regions of the galaxy, making contact with new civilizations. Orion's mind raced with the implications. If Earth could project its power so easily across the stars, the very foundations of the Vorta Empire's dominance were at risk. Captain Morgan, he said carefully, might we discuss the possibility of a technology exchange? The Empire would be very interested in acquiring this FTL capability. Morgan's expression grew serious. We're open to sharing our knowledge, Ambassador, but any exchange must be based on mutual respect and trust. Earth will not tolerate any attempts at coercion or subjugation. The unspoken message was clear. The balance of power had shifted, and the Vorta would need to tread carefully in their dealings with this rising star of a civilization. As the demonstration concluded, and they returned to their ship, Orion and Zephyr were lost in thought. The sheer ingenuity and determination of the humans had left them both humbled and apprehensive. We must report this to the High Council immediately, Orion said, his voice low. The Empire needs to act quickly to establish a positive relationship with Earth. We cannot afford to be left behind in this new era of galactic politics. Zephyr nodded, his expression grave. The old ways of dominance and control will no longer suffice. We must adapt, or risk obsolescence. As they prepared their report, the weight of the future pressed down on them. The choices made in the coming days would shape the course of the galaxy for generations to come, and Earth, with its revolutionary technology and indomitable spirit, would be at the center of it all. Back on their diplomatic cruiser, Orion paced the command deck like a caged animal, his mind churning with the implications of their discovery. Zephyr hunched over a console, his fingers flying across the interface as he pored over the sensor data from their encounter with the Prometheus. We have to act fast, Orion said, his voice tight. The Empire needs to secure an alliance with Earth before it's too late. Zephyr looked up, his brow furrowed. And what would that entail exactly? Groveling at the feet of the humans, acknowledging them as equals. There was an edge to his voice, a hint of the old Vorta pride. Orion whirled to face him. Don't you see? Our usual tactics won't work here. Intimidation, conquest, subjugation. The humans have the technology and the will to resist. We need a new approach. And what of the other member species? The Vanari, the Zelnaga, the Kree? They won't take kindly to the Empire cozying up to a newcomer. We'll deal with that when the time comes. Right now we need to focus on— A chime from the comm panel interrupted their argument. Orion tapped the interface, his eyes widening as he read the incoming message. It's the High Council. They want an immediate report on our findings. Zephyr stood, his expression grim. They need to know the truth, the full extent of Earth's capabilities. Orion nodded. And the risks of making an enemy of them. But we have to be careful how we present it. This could change the course of galactic history. They spent the next hour crafting their report, debating every word, every detail. The advanced human ships, the revolutionary FTL drive, the hidden fleets and shipyards, the potential for an alliance, the dangers of alienation. As they transmitted the report, Orion felt the weight of the galaxy on his shoulders. The High Council's response would determine the fate of billions, the shape of the future itself. The reply came sooner than expected. the holographic visage of High Counselor Vortex flickering to life on the view screen. His aged features were etched with concern, his voice grave as he spoke. "Ambassador Orion, your report is troubling, to say the least. The Council has always been wary of change, of disruption to the established order. But if what you say is true, we may have no choice but to adapt." Orion inclined his head. "I believe it is imperative, High Counselor. The humans are not to be underestimated. A peaceful partnership could benefit both our civilizations immensely." Vortex nodded slowly. "The Council will deliberate on the matter. In the meantime, you are to continue your diplomatic mission. Establish lines of communication, build trust, lay the groundwork for a formal alliance." "Understood, High Counselor. We will not fail in our duty." As the transmission ended, Orion turned to Zephyr, his expression a mix of determination and trepidation. "The future of the galaxy hangs in the balance, my friend. We must tread carefully, but boldly. There is no turning back now." Zephyr clasped his shoulder, his grip firm. "Together, then, for the Empire and for the sake of peace." They stood there for a long moment, two old soldiers on the precipice of a new era, the weight of the galaxy's fate resting squarely on their shoulders. The road ahead was uncertain, the challenges immense. But one thing was clear: the destiny of Vorta and human alike would be forged in the crucible of the coming days, the shape of the future determined by the choices they made and the alliances they forged. As the High Council deliberated on the future of Vorta-Earth relations, an invitation arrived from the human leadership, extending an offer for Orion and Zephyr to attend a special event at a newly constructed space station near Earth. The event aimed to showcase the potential benefits of collaboration between the two civilizations, a promising sign of the evolving relationship. The Vorta diplomats boarded their shuttle, anticipation and curiosity mingling in the air as they approached the gleaming space station. Upon docking, they were greeted by a diverse group of human representatives, diplomats in crisp suits, scientists with eager eyes, and military officials standing tall in their uniforms. "Welcome, Ambassador Orion and Emissary Zephyr," a silver-haired diplomat said warmly, clasping their hands in turn. "We're honored to have you join us for this special occasion. Please, allow us to give you a tour of the facility." As they walked the pristine corridors, the human representatives spoke with passion and pride about the space station's role as a hub for international cooperation and a testament to humanity's commitment to peaceful exploration and development. Orion and Zephyr marveled at the state-of-the-art laboratories, advanced manufacturing centers, and cultural exchange programs, each a shining example of human ingenuity and progress. "This is truly impressive," Orion remarked, examining a holographic display of the station's layout. "The Empire could learn much from your approach to interstellar cooperation." Their guide smiled. "We believe that by working together we can achieve far more than we ever could alone. Speaking of which, we have a special demonstration prepared for you today." The group entered a large circular room, where a team of human and alien scientists stood beside a complex apparatus. As the lead researcher began to explain, Orion and Zephyr learned that they were witnessing the unveiling of a new energy storage system, developed through a joint human-alien research project. "By combining human ingenuity with the unique perspectives and knowledge of our alien partners," the scientist said, eyes alight with excitement, "we've created a technology that has the potential to revolutionize space travel and improve the lives of countless beings across the galaxy." The demonstration was a resounding success, the energy storage system performing flawlessly and showcasing the incredible potential of interstellar collaboration. Orion turned to Zephyr, his voice low but filled with conviction. "This is the future, Zephyr. The Galactic Empire has much to gain from embracing a more collaborative approach to interstellar relations. Imagine what we could achieve, working side by side with the humans and other civilizations." Zephyr nodded, though a flicker of concern crossed his features. "I agree, Orion, but we must also be cautious. The Empire cannot become too dependent on human technology and expertise. We must find a balance, fostering innovation and cooperation among our own member species as well. As the event drew to a close, Orion and Zephyr bid farewell to their human hosts, their minds buzzing with newfound insights and possibilities. They knew that the path ahead would be challenging, fraught with obstacles and resistance from those who clung to the old ways. But they were determined to help guide the Galactic Empire towards a more prosperous and peaceful future, one built on the foundation of interstellar cooperation. Boarding their shuttle, Orion turned to Zephyr, his expression resolute. "We have our work cut out for us, my friend, but we cannot falter now. Too much is at stake." Zephyr clasped his shoulder, a gesture of solidarity and support. Together, then, for the future of the Empire and the galaxy as a whole. As their shuttle pulled away from the space station, the two Vorta diplomats knew that they stood on the precipice of a new era, one that would be shaped by the choices they made and the alliances they forged. The road ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear: the destiny of the Galactic Empire and the fate of countless civilizations hung in the balance. As the shuttle docked with their diplomatic cruiser, Orion's wrist communicator chimed urgently. High Counselor Vortex's face filled the small screen, his expression grave. "Ambassador, we have a situation. Our intelligence network has uncovered a growing insurgency within the Empire, led by hardliners opposed to our burgeoning alliance with Earth." Orion and Zephyr exchanged worried glances as they strode onto the command deck. "What do we know about these insurgents?" Orion asked, his brow furrowed. "They're spreading propaganda, claiming that collaborating with lesser species like humans is weakening the Empire, betraying our founding principles. There are whispers that they're even developing their own advanced weapons tech." Zephyr leaned in, his voice low. "Could they have help from a rogue human faction? Some on Earth still resent the Empire's past actions." Vortex nodded grimly. "It's a possibility we can't ignore. This insurgency poses a grave threat to our negotiations with Earth. You must investigate and assess the danger, Orion. The future of our alliance hangs in the balance." As the transmission ended, Orion paced the deck, his mind racing. If these insurgents succeed, they could undo all the progress we've made, plunge us into a disastrous conflict with Earth. "We need to share this intel with our human contacts," Zephyr said, already pulling up a secure comm channel. "Captain Morgan, Admiral Sinclair, they need to know what we're up against." Orion nodded, a plan forming. "What if we proposed a joint task force, human and Vorta personnel working together to track down and neutralize this threat? Combining our resources could give us the edge we need," Zephyr agreed. "I'll arrange a meeting somewhere secure." Hours later, they sat across from Morgan and Sinclair in a dimly lit room, the air heavy with tension. "We've been monitoring a rogue human faction," Morgan revealed, his face grim. "Hardline isolationists who'd love nothing more than to see our alliance fail. It's possible they're working with your insurgents." Sinclair leaned forward, his eyes hard. "But if we pool our intel, our resources, we may be able to cut them off before they can cause real damage, prevent them from getting their hands on any game-changing tech." Orion felt a flicker of hope amidst the gathering storm. "Then let's get to work, gentlemen. The future of human-Vorta relations, of the galaxy itself, it all depends on what we do next." As the meeting broke up, and they headed back to their ships, Orion and Zephyr knew the path ahead would be fraught with danger and uncertainty. The insurgency represented a dagger aimed at the heart of their nascent alliance, a powder keg that could ignite a war across the stars. But they also knew that they weren't alone in this fight. With Earth and the Empire working side by side, pooling their strength and ingenuity, they stood a chance of weathering the coming storm. The future was unwritten, a vast expanse of possibilities stretching out before them, and the pen was in their hands, poised to shape the course of galactic history. In the coming days, every choice they made, every action they took, would ripple across the stars, deciding the fate of billions. The weight of that responsibility settled on Orion's shoulders as he gazed out at the endless void. But he straightened his spine, his jaw set with determination. They would meet this challenge as they had every other, with courage, with wisdom, and with an unwavering commitment to the dream of a galaxy united in peace and purpose. No matter what the insurgents threw at them, no matter how hard the road ahead, Orion knew one thing for certain: the alliance between Earth and the Vorta would not be broken. Not on his watch. As their cruiser slipped into FTL, racing towards an uncertain future, Orion turned to Zephyr, a fierce light in his eyes. "We'll stop them, my friend. Whatever it takes, this is only the beginning." In the dimly lit conference room aboard their diplomatic cruiser, Orion paced back and forth, his brow furrowed with concern. Zephyr sat at the table, poring over the latest intelligence reports from the Joint Task Force. "This is a disaster," Orion muttered, slamming his fist on the table. "The insurgents have a prototype FTL drive now. They could strike anywhere in the galaxy, and we'd be powerless to stop them." Zephyr looked up, his expression grave. "Our sources indicate they likely acquired it through the rogue human faction. This alliance between the hardliners and the human extremists is more dangerous than we thought." Orion slumped into a chair, his shoulders sagging. "We've been working around the clock to counter this insurgency, but it feels like we're fighting a losing battle. They're growing stronger and more influential by the day." Zephyr leaned forward, his voice measured. "But think about how far we've come, Orion. The alliance with Earth has already begun to change the Empire in ways we never thought possible." He tapped the screen, pulling up a list of joint initiatives. "Look at all these research projects, cultural exchanges, diplomatic programs. The Empire is evolving, slowly but surely. By working closely with the humans and other species, we're building a foundation for a more stable and prosperous future." Orion nodded, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. "You're right, Zephyr. We can't lose sight of the progress we've made. But the road ahead won't be easy. Even if we neutralize this current threat, the underlying tensions that fueled the insurgency won't disappear overnight." As they sat in contemplative silence, an urgent message flashed across the screen. Zephyr's eyes widened as he read the report. "The Joint Task Force did it. They intercepted the prototype FTL drive," he said, his voice a mix of relief and trepidation. Orion leaned over to read the details, his face falling as he scanned the casualties. "But at what cost? We lost good people, Zephyr, humans and Vorta alike." His gaze settled on a familiar name, and he felt a lump form in his throat. "Captain Morgan, he sacrificed himself to ensure the mission's success. I can't believe he's gone." Zephyr placed a hand on Orion's shoulder, his own eyes glistening with unshed tears. "He was a true hero, Orion, a shining example of the bravery and commitment to peace that defines this alliance." As they sat in somber silence, processing the weight of the loss, Orion's communicator chimed with an incoming message. It was an invitation to a memorial service for the fallen heroes of the Joint Task Force. "We'll be there," Orion said, his voice thick with emotion. "We'll honor their sacrifice by continuing the work they started. This alliance, this dream of a better future for all beings in the galaxy, it's more important now than ever." Zephyr nodded solemnly. "The story of humanity's rise and the Empire's transformation is still being written, Orion, and the legacy of those who fought and died for peace will live on through us and through all those who follow in their footsteps." As they prepared to depart for the memorial service, Orion and Zephyr knew that the challenges ahead would be immense. The loss of Captain Morgan and the other brave souls weighed heavily on their hearts, but it also strengthened their resolve. They would not let the sacrifices be in vain. They would continue to fight for the Alliance, for the dream of a galaxy united in peace and purpose. No matter how long the road, no matter how great the cost, they would persevere. For in the end, the story of the Galactic Empire and humanity was one of hope, of courage, and of the indomitable spirit that resided in the hearts of all those who dared to imagine a better tomorrow. If you finished this story, please subscribe and like the video. Then leave a comment that says, "I liked the story," and I will heart every single one of them. It really helps me. Thank you for your time.